These NHL players forced rule changes. In the past year, there was a memorable game where Jack Hughes played phenomenally, leaving the Hawks and Lacinin in a state of embarrassment. Patrick could not perform well in the same game and appeared to struggle. After Hughes scored the winning goal in overtime, he celebrated by tossing his stick into the crowd, which got me thinking. If this was any other situation besides scoring an OT winner, would there be a rule against throwing a stick into the crowd? It seems logical to have a rule prohibiting such actions. It's also interesting to consider whether the act of throwing a stick into the crowd led to the creation of this new rule. From the introduction, you might have guessed what we're going to talk about: those NHL players who forced rule changes in the game. So, before we start with the video, do not forget to like and subscribe to Sportflix 2. So, let us begin. Number 1. Mats Sundin. Incidents like these have indeed led to changes in NHL rules. One example is from 2004 during a match between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Nashville Predators. Halfway through the second period with the score at 0, Mats Sundin snapped his stick while attempting a one-timer shot. Frustratedly, he threw the sharp serrated fiberglass stick into the crowd, which could have quickly impaled someone depending on how it broke. The act shocked everyone, and the referees were unsure of how to penalize Sundin. Eventually, he received a one-game suspension, becoming the first player in NHL history to be punished for such a savage act. This incident changed the throwing stick rule, which now prohibits players from throwing their sticks into the crowd. While such incidents are uncommon, they have had a lasting impact on the NHL. Today's video will discuss NHL players who have single-handedly forced changes in the league's rules. Number 2. Jacques Plante. The evolution of player equipment in the NHL, particularly helmet wearing, has been a wild ride. In the early 1900s, even goalies did not wear masks. It wasn't until 1959, when Jacques Plante received a shot to the face resulting in a broken nose, that a goalie wore a mask for the first time in league history. Plante's coach initially forbade him from wearing it, but he refused to play without it. Winning the game helped his case for keeping it on. Despite starting the revolution of goaltenders wearing masks, Plante was ridiculed by the entire NHL for wearing one. It is hard to imagine people thinking it was pathetic for not wanting a shattered face. 3. David Perron. The following significant rule change regarding helmets in the NHL came in 2019. During a game against the St. Louis Blues, Torrey Krug got into a heated battle with David Perron. Perron put Krug in a headlock and ripped his helmet off, which could have caused serious injury. Despite this, Krug returned to play and landed a monster hit without a helmet, with his hair flowing in the wind. He even finished a shift without a helmet. However, the league realized this could not happen again after the game. So, before we move ahead with the later part of this video, let us know in the comments section what your views are regarding the new rules coming into existence, or whether the actions of players are justified. Do let us know, and do not forget to subscribe to Sportflix 2. Now let's resume with the video. Number 4. Lindbergh. Back then, it was insane that players, let alone goalies, did not wear helmets. But did you know that goalies were also not allowed to drink water during the game? There were no TV breaks or scheduled timeouts, so unless a goalie sprinted to their bench for a quick drink, they could rarely get water during the game. This became a massive issue for Lindbergh, who was very susceptible to dehydration. This could be very dangerous for a goalie playing 60 minutes a night in heavy equipment. In many situations, Lindbergh had to be replaced with a backup goalie because he couldn't continue without getting sick. But during a game in 1985, Lindbergh had enough and started putting his water bottle on the top of his net. This upset teams around the NHL so much that Glenn Sather, head coach of Gretzky in the Oilers dynasty, compared Lindbergh's water bottle to a bucket of chicken on top of his net. Back then, people dared get upset at a professional athlete for needing water. They thought the water might spill on the ice, but that was a ridiculous reason considering water is frozen. However, because Lindbergh used a Velcro strap, the ref allowed it, which led to the creation of the dumbest NHL rule. Later that year, the NHL started allowing goalies to have their water bottles, and every goalie in the world realized it was complete stupidity not to have their water bottles. To think that Lindbergh had to be brave to drink water. How would the boomers feel today with the rules we're seeing if they thought drinking water was for babies? Number 5, Cody Eakin and Joe Pavelski. One of the long-standing issues in the NHL is determining major penalties. With the league's increasing emphasis on player safety and creating more rules to protect players, it has become increasingly difficult for referees to distinguish between minor and major infractions. This has resulted in players being ejected from games for seemingly minor infractions. In 2019, during a pivotal Game 7 matchup, the Vegas Golden Knights took a 3-0 lead over the San Jose Sharks. However, with just 10 minutes remaining in the game, a seemingly innocuous play turned the game's tide. Cody Eakin of the Golden Knights shoved Joe Pavelski of the Sharks, causing him to collide with another Vegas player and crash to the ice. The referees, unsure of what happened, assessed a 5-minute significant penalty to Eakin. This penalty, which is far more severe than a minor penalty, allowed the Sharks to score multiple times during the 5-minute power play. They scored 4 goals in just 10 minutes, tying the game and eventually winning in overtime. The Golden Knights were eliminated from the playoffs, all because of a missed call. This incident led the NHL to create the Cody Eakin rule, which allows referees to review all significant penalties before making a final determination. The hope is that this will prevent similar catastrophes from occurring in the future and ensure that players are not unfairly penalized. Number 6, Gary Smith. The role of goalies in playing the puck has seen a significant decline in today's game compared to the past, where goalies like Martin Brodeur were game changers due to their exceptional passing skills. A skilled goalie who can pass well can be the 6th player on the ice. However, while goalies like Mike Smith still possess some of these skills, they pale compared to the impact made by legendary goalies such as Gary "Suitcase" Smith in the 70s. Smith was notorious for playing the puck and would often carry it past his blue line and even toward the opposing zone, which is almost unheard of in today's game. The NHL eventually had to create a new illegal participation rule to prevent such shenanigans from happening again. It's interesting to imagine how absurd it would be if a goalie tried to skate the puck into the opposing zone today. We hope you enjoyed the video on the NHL players who forced rule changes in the game. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments section below, and do not forget to subscribe to Sportflix 2. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.